Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Amazonas state in Brazil. I have my wide lens on so I could show you as much of the state as possible. It doesn't quite fit on my camera, so don't worry if you can't see Ecuador. That's my camera lens, makes everything on the sides a little blurry, but you can see Amazonas, and that's what matters. So don't worry, your eyes are fine. It's my camera lens. Amazonas is the largest state in Brazil and very, very sparsely populated, and that's because pretty much the entire state is covered by the Amazon rainforest, the world's largest rainforest. And of course, cutting right through is the Amazon River, the river that holds the most water than any other river in the world. But you can also see this river here. This is the Rio Negro, and they meet here at the capital of the state, Manaus. And I'll show you all these wonderful things on Google Earth as well. You can see all the various national parks throughout the area. And of course, this part of the Amazon is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So let me pull that up for you so I can look at their website. Hopefully it works at this angle. Close enough. Let me click this. The Central Amazon Conservation Complex. It says the Central Amazon Conservation Complex makes up the largest protected area in the Amazon basin and is one of the planet's richest regions in terms of biodiversity. It also includes an important sample of Varsia ecosystems, Igapo forests, lakes, and channels, which take the form of a constantly evolving aquatic mosaic that is home to the largest array of electric fish in the world. The site protects key threatened species, including giant arapaima fish, the Amazonian manatee, the black caiman, and 2 species of river dolphin. The pictures here aren't that great. They are pretty. There's a sweet tapir here and a big iguana. But I like this picture because it's pretty much when you think of the Amazon, you just think of impenetrable, thick green jungle full of all different kinds of leaves. And you can imagine all the sounds you would hear, all the birds and monkeys and all kinds of critters just making noise constantly, and the rain pouring down and the humidity against your skin. It sounds incredible, right? So that's that. Even though this is a massive place in the world, you think that I'd spend a long time on geography, but it's pretty much just the Amazon. It's the Amazon rainforest, covering 100% of it. But also within that forest, amidst the birds and monkeys and insects and rain and humidity, are many, many, many different ethnic indigenous peoples. In Brazil, they call indigenous Brazilians Indios, or Indians in English, which I've mentioned before. Like in the United States where I live, that's a huge no-no to say, but that's what they say in Brazil. They call their peoples, their indigenous peoples, Indians or Indios. Many, many different tribes living here, many different reserves, and even non-contacted tribes that we know are there, but we know it's best to leave them alone. One, because they could be very violent, we don't want anyone getting hurt, and 2, disease. Of course, we don't want to spread disease to these areas. So, many places have people living here that will most likely never see the rest of the world, which I think is really neat. I think the concept of uncontacted tribes is so, like, mysterious and interesting, that there's these people out there. We'll never understand their language, we'll never understand their culture. They just are existing peacefully away from everyone else. A little jealous. The first Europeans in the area were led by a Spaniard named Francisco de Orellana. He decided that he was going to go down this river, technically up this river, just to see what he would find. And allegedly, he found a tribe of very violent women that attacked his team. So he decided to name the region the Amazon after the legendary Greek myth of the Amazon women warriors. So technically, this part should have belonged to Spain. Spain and Portugal, once they realized that there is a fat chunk of land out here where they thought it was just ocean, drew up what's called the Treaty of Tordesillas. And they drew a line on one of the lines of longitude and said everything on this side is going to be Portuguese. Everything on this side is going to be Spanish. And they didn't realize that everything on this side was like a majority of South America, Central America, Mexico, lots of North America, even the Philippines they claimed because of the Treaty of Tordesillas. Way more stuff on the Spanish side than the Portuguese side. I imagine the Portuguese, once they realized that, felt a little bit ripped off. So slowly but surely, they started kind of creeping over to the Spanish side to see what was there. I mean, it's just forest. They're never gonna know. Slowly but surely, they started coming in and establishing little centers that they could, crash out for the night as they explored. But once they realized how many people were here, many missionaries were sent out. All the Spanish ones that were built out here, the Portuguese found them and destroyed them. I've talked about them on my videos in Paraguay recently, but there were these men known as the Bandeirantes, and their goal was to kind of push that Portuguese border over as much as they could without anyone noticing, and to capture indigenous peoples to take back to the plantations as slaves. So if they found a little mission, a little encomienda place, they would burn it to the ground, slaughter all the Spanish, and take all the Indians and kidnap them. Just not a good thing. I'm just saying it happened, okay? Don't blame me. I'm just the messenger. So things needed to be done, right? Eventually, little forts were established around the area until the Portuguese realized that forts weren't just good for protection, they were also protecting themselves from the Dutch, who were just up there. It was a good way to stake land, and that's when the city of Manaus was founded in the year 1669, just to kind of stake their claim. By 1693, the land was kind of divvied up here between the various different missionaries. There were the Jesuits and quite a couple others that I've never actually heard of, so I don't want to butcher their names, but many different groups of missionaries had kind of divvied up the Amazon and said, well, we're going to go here and try to convert. And that, of course, allowed many diseases to run through these little towns and tribes, particularly smallpox, which devastated many of the indigenous populations in the Brazilian Amazon. Eventually, Spain over here, because this area was technically part of the Viceroyalty of Peru, Spain was like, you know what, we got to figure this out politically. What's going to be Portuguese land? What's going to be Spanish land? So that was officially plotted out in 1750 with the Treaty of Madrid, which separated the Portuguese land from the Spanish land, pretty much the borders that you see today. It got a little complicated once Brazil became independent because a lot of the borders up here were still kind of iffy. So when Gran Colombia formed, which was like a super group of countries, it was Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, which you can't see, and Panama. They're saying this appears part of Gran Colombia. And Portugal's like, no, it's not. So I think that's how, like, this straight line here was determined. I think that was a Gran Colombia decision, like, okay, you can have everything on that side. In 1832, there was a big movement for the peoples living here. Brazilian, Portuguese, and indigenous, to create an autonomous district within this new country, Brazil. It got pretty violent at some times. The conflict was known as this is Portuguese. I'm terrible at Portuguese. The Cabanachem? I'm not sure. It was an uprising against the very small upper class living in the Amazon. The lower class were living in, hovels along the Amazon River, while people were starting to get rich off of the resources here, and they rose up. So Brazil at the end created kind of a middleman, not an autonomous region of Brazil, but they made it into its own province in 1850. You can do your own thing, but you're part of Brazil. And things really started to look up in the latter half of the 19th century when rubber became a big industry. Cars are now being built. You need rubber for those tires. Rubber trees only grew in Brazil and Peru. So this whole area just became, a huge, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like, just dollar signs, we would say in America, but I guess where else we'd say in Brazil. It became a huge forest full of money, essentially. So Manaus boomed during this time. Now that you had so many wealthy people and many Europeans moving in to find their riches in the rubber business, Manaus grew in population and in terms of architecture. This is when we get the beautiful Amazon Opera House and many, many other beautiful buildings that we will look at. Sorry that you just heard the dog barking. Our downstairs neighbor's dog barks at everything, but it's a sweet dog, so it's okay. The boom did not last very long, though. It died by the early 1900s because rubber tree seeds were smuggled out of South America. Plantations sprung up in Southeast Asia. And, the price tanked. So the rubber boom was very short-lived, but while it was there, these people were living rich off of these rubber trees. And essentially, that's pretty much where we are today. In 1967, Manaus was made a free trade port, but other than that, I don't have much else to tell you in history. But I will tell you what I forgot in geography. I always forget something. I have my notes right next to me. I look at them constantly. I always forget one thing, even though they're written on the notes, but I remembered it in time. Pico de Neblina, you can see up here. Pico de Neblina National Park. I hope you can see it. I hope it's not too blurry. Is the highest mountain entirely within Brazil. I mean, there's a little bit in Venezuela, but the peak is in Brazil. That's pretty cool. Deep here in the Amazon. let's go to the tablet and look at Google Earth. Hopefully I can prop up this tablet in a way that works. Let's see. I've got you way zoomed out on here to show you. Oops. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go like this. Perfect. Okay. I was hoping that it wouldn't be squeaky. This thing I have holding my camera squeaks. To show you how big this state is. Absolutely massive. And as you can see, it is just a big old green field as far as the eye can see. It's 100% Amazon. Just pure, beautiful, beautiful rainforest. Let's look at this slideshow. I think most of the pictures are of Manaus. But let's see. Big lily pads. These are the Victoria Regia or something like that. I want to say it's a national flower, one of the national flowers of Brazil. Something like that. Old architecture here. That's neat. Little jaguar. Beautiful resorts. Lots of boat tours going down the river. There's a jaguar. Little huts there. That's a big statue there. Beautiful waterfalls. I love this picture. This looks like some kind of 3D rendering. That's gorgeous. Wow, the little waterfalls, the big trees. I love it. Little boathouse there. And look at this. This doesn't look real either. How incredible is that? Huge waterfall, perfectly sliced right there. It's so, so lovely. Let's see. Let's start off by looking at Manaus. Try to get past some of these pictures. Here's the opera house. You know what? We're going to skip the slideshow because I want to show you the opera house. It's so beautiful, especially on the inside. Let's zoom in here. Let's let it load so I can find it. I think it's like right over here. Nope. That's the Institute of something or other. Yeah, let me type it in. Spoilers there for other things coming up. Amazon Theater. There it is. Darn, I was so close. The Amazon Theater here. So let's take a look inside. It's gorgeous. Very French looking, isn't it? But it was just kind of the European facade of the day. Look at this. It's pretty much like any beautiful European opera house that you would see, but in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. Cool statue. A beautiful painted ceiling, the big chandelier. Oh, it's so lovely. It must be incredible to see a performance there. And they even have one made out of Legos. That's very cool. Christmas time. Oh, cool. We can do a little old school tour of Manaus. It's just stunning, stunning architecture. Old organ there. Just a really good example of the style of buildings you can find in Manaus. I assume that's the guy that built it. A cool costume there. Let's see what other buildings we can find. Maybe it's like a plaza. Palacio Rio Negro. Oh yeah, stuff like this. I think I was reading before. Yeah, this is where the governor of the state lives. That's cool. Little stuff from all around the world. Probably gifts of some kind. Beautiful gardens. I love the staircase. It's just beautiful, beautiful architecture. I know I've said that a million times. Some china there. And it's just like wild to think of this huge, beautiful city, cool close, in the middle of the Amazon. Like if we zoom out, just in the jungle. But what's neat over here is we can actually see the place where the Rio Negro and Amazon River meet. Let's see, the meeting of the waters. Look at that. Is that not incredible? Like the Rio Negro is literally a black river. It's literally black, meeting the muddy Amazon River. How neat is that you can actually go out and see it? You can see where these two rivers meet without any kind of like man-made delineation. That's so cool, right? But there's something even cooler. Something I didn't know I needed. That's now a bucket list thing. They mentioned before on UNESCO the river dolphins. They are known as the boto. They are little pink freshwater river dolphins, and in this place you can go swimming with them. That's something I didn't know I wanted to do, but now I have to. I have to go do this. I didn't know that you could go in the water and just chill with the dolphins. I mean, they're obviously being fed, but look, that would be me. I would be over the moon if I got to do this. My new J-Moo, watch out for that caiman. That's a jumper. I want to do this. I want to be this lady. I want to look at this sweet dolphin. I was reading about how once upon a time when South America and Africa were together as part of Gondwana, the whole Amazon was a big lake. And as the continents separated and the Andes formed, it pushed all the water out, forming the Amazon River and leaving this huge basin full of greenery. But that's how we get dolphins, manatees, there's little stingray guys, like kinds of things that you would normally find in the ocean living in the Amazon, because once upon a time it was an ocean. But let's spend the rest of this time looking at some national parks here. This one's cool, how mysterious. This is very like kind of Indiana Jones, isn't it? Let's go to this one, to Shao. I really need to learn how to pronounce Portuguese. But yeah, oh, that's so neat. You can get all kinds of tours to explore these parks. Lots of riverboat tours. This is kind of ominous. I hope that's some kind of art or religious art installation, not an actual graveyard, you know. Look at those boats you can take. How fun would that be? I hope it's not too damaging to the river. Something like this would be even more cool, getting on a little boat or canoe and going through all the water here and exploring. That would be amazing. That boat's pretty cool. I guess I have to, because now I have to go to Manaus at some point and swim with the boat. I'm gonna have to at some point. Let's see this one, Araka. I've looked at all of these, so I can't remember which ones are the good ones, but I like this picture. Just trees as far as the eye can see. Little indigenous village here. That's so cool. A lot of these villages, you know, they oh, look how that, he's got a little swing. It looks like Mowgli with the red trousers there. They've got to make a living now, you know. They're part of Brazil, so a lot do, little friends, like tourist demonstrations, and they sell knickknacks and things and let you come and experience life in their village for a price, of course, so that they can survive in this modern world. Which, I mean, is kind of a win-win. We get to see how these people live, and you know, they get a way of life that they can survive off of. Here's Pico de Neblina. Really gorgeous, isn't it? The slideshow in general is just really pretty. The river and the trees and the landscape of the area, these roaring rapids. Little Cessna to take you around, because a lot of these places you cannot get to by car, obviously. You've got to take a boat or a plane, and that is it. Oh, cool. see. Let's find another cool park to look at. Let me zoom out a bit. State of Amazonas. I feel like I found a cool one over here somewhere. But like I've looked at all these, I can't remember which one it was. Was it this one? This looks familiar. Pau Rosa National Forest. It wasn't, but we're gonna look at it anyway. Beautiful river up above. Goodness, you can't tell where the sky and the river meet. How incredible. Lots of little boat tours. So pretty, little pink trees. Maybe this one. Ooh, muddy. Yeah, lots of cool tourist pictures of their trips down the river. I think I'm going to cap it there because there's a big fish under there. Fly there, safe. Oh my goodness, a massive fish. Oh my gosh, how sweet. I don't know what that is, but it's very cute. Let's see, it looks like these dudes' fishing trips. There's one I wanted to show you because it had some really neat pictures, but nope, there's no pictures there. Because a lot of these are the same, but it had some cool piranhas and lots of neat pictures of indigenous people. So that's sad. I don't want to see trees getting chopped down, especially in the Amazon. Let's find one more. Let's look over here. Hello. We're lost in the Amazon. There's a really great movie about this place called Jungle. It has Daniel Radcliffe in it. A true story about a guy who was lost in the Brazilian Amazon for about, I want to say it was like 20 something days. Did we look at this already? Yes, we did. Anyway, recommend that movie. Really, really hard to watch because it's a survival tale, but a really good depiction of like how you just can't, go in and establish your own town and just like explore on your own. Let's see, there's a reserve here. So pretty. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful here. But anyway, I'm going to end it here. If you want more Amazon, just make sure you are subscribed to this channel because we are going to hop over the border and explore the Amazon of Colombia tomorrow. So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. I hope that you found this video. Hello there. I hope you found this video relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good night.